any concrete fact, you put out what is called a theory. Okay? Y'all surprised I still know that stuff? Now, a theory is not a fact, but it is an educated guess based on experiment, observation, and hypothesis. So what that means is that nothing they teach our children in these schools is fact. When they look on the telescopes and they look far away to some place they can't go and say that's a nebula and that's a galaxy, I guess you just got to take their word for it, because they ain't never been there. They just see a cluster of stars and gases, and they just saying, hey, we think that's another place that's like our solar system. But they can't prove it. All of this is guesswork off of experiments that are done on Earth. Do y'all understand that? Now, over the past few years, they've sent out some little probes and stuff. They say we landed a machine on Mars, and it sent back pictures for like a week, and then it burnt up. Okay, cool. But I know for a fact that's new, and they haven't been anywhere. Didn't they just, brothers and sisters, look, didn't they just announce that they're not going to teach in our schools no more that Pluto is a planet? So they're teaching us 8 planets now. But all of us in our generation and the generation before us, what did you learn in school? How many planets in this? Huh? Oh, they changed it? So that idea come way back from Darwin era and all of that. Only cat that I don't give no gripes to is the kid Einstein, because Einstein said he believed that there's a supreme being. He didn't believe that any of these things happen by accident. His goal was to prove that there are laws that govern everything. Like there is actually something that follows a pattern that creates us being held down on a planet called gravity. There is a law of chemistry, a law of physics, and do you know what law states? Rules. That without these certain rules and principles set, these things will not exist. That's all he went to prove. But if you do the research, he never said that God didn't exist. As a matter of fact, he said that he thought science was nothing but a tool man uses as his own attempt to try and explain the work of God. That's what Einstein said. But Darwin, and Darwin didn't even say it wasn't no God. He just said that he believed that creatures evolve and adapt and mutate. That's what he said. But they done took all of that, and they done said basically ain't no God. They took prayers out of schools. Y'all know they used to pray in American schools and have Bible readings in American schools? And y'all know they took it out in the 50s? Yeah, people don't know that. They prayed in every school. Brothers and sisters, this here is our lifeblood. We about to get today with the prophets and the wise men of God and the wise women of God understood was the story given on what God did. I gave y'all these. These are my... Do not laugh at my weak, non-artistic skills. This is just an attempt to do diagrams, brothers and sisters, so you can see what I see. And hopefully, when you have a visual, it'll give it a little bit clarity. So, brother, if you would, in chapter 1, read verse 1, please.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters.
Now, brothers and sisters, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. That's what it's saying. But now it's about to start to talk about the process of it. That was the synopsis of what he did in the beginning. He created the heavens and earth. Now the process of what he started to do to create heaven and earth is about to be explained. The earth was without form and was void. And if you do the research, I couldn't do every word. I got a couple words, but I couldn't do every one. If you look up without form and void, the words, wait, what'd you say?
Tohu wabohu.
Oh, tohu wabohu, right. That's the Hebrew saying of it. It's basically saying that there was no clear and defining shape or life or any things that's going to come in creation. None of this existed on earth. We going to find out what earth is, brothers and sisters, okay? It's not saying that it was some catastrophic event and evil held over the earth, because some people interpreting this they trying to make the creation story all allegory and all figurative. Nothing literal. So when it say darkness was upon the face of the deep, we'll see wickedness had took over the earth and this. Why couldn't just been dark? Darkness here, from what I'm finding, is not talking about wickedness, not that kind of darkness. It's talking about darkness like the darkness I seen on the ocean a couple weeks ago, with no street lights, no city lights, no land around, and I went out on the helm of a ship and couldn't see the ship. I'm on it, but I'm looking this way and can't really see that far on it, because it was total darkness, and it was the beginning of the month, so it was no moon also out in the sky. So that made it utterly dark. Do you understand? Couldn't even see the ocean. I heard it, but couldn't see it, and couldn't see anything defining. Straight darkness. Now, brother, there's an argument about the earth was, the earth became. The word, I believe it's hateya or heteya. Hayeta, thank you. And then there's a word meaning became called hoi. Something like that. And there's an argument back and forth between the so-called scholars on did the earth become or is it was. Let them argue on that. The earth was without form, brothers and sisters, and was void. So there was no shape or anything known that we can see now with our eye. None of that was defined on the earth. And water was on, covering the face of the earth. Now why do I say that? I'm going to go into it. But first I want to do something. Here it says in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth, right? Let's go and look up something. Brother, if you would, I got here the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. If you would go to number 430 in the Hebrew, it's the word God that's used here. So if you go into the Hebrew writings, if you could read Torah in Hebrew, you will see the word Elohim, okay? That's the word that's there, no other word. So let's understand what that word is signifying, okay? I think I got a piece of paper in here. So, yeah. So, brother, look at number 430 and give us the definition of Elohim.
Elohim, plural, of gods, in the ordinary sense, but specifically used in parentheses in the plural. Thus, especially with the art of the supreme God, occasionally applied by way of difference to magistrates, and sometimes as a superlative. And they use angels.
Right. So they got angels, and then the word gods, talking about various things men may call God or whatever. But do you know that the thing about the word Elohim is that when you say that word, you're expressing the idea of God in plural sense, brothers and sisters. Plural. Do anybody know the difference between plural and singular? Singular means one. Plural means more than one. So you're expressing a group thought, or you're expressing more than one when you say this word. This is something that a lot of people can't get away from. See, there's only one God. Oh, Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. We know all of that. But in the language of the fathers, the word Elohim is expressing the plural idea of God. And it says in expressing the idea of angels. And especially when it comes to talking the supreme God, right? So do you know what it's saying? It's talking about the beings that you could refer to as God. This group, this family, this species, if you will. If you look in all the universe, brothers and sisters, there's only one man, right? The one that was made on this planet, right? But isn't man a word that's uni and plural also?
Right.
Yeah.
Because man could be referring to me like, look at that man. Like somebody see me and say, look at that man. I'm one individual. But then if they talk about all of us in here, male and female, we are what? Man, right? So you can talk about God, but you can say God and be referring to more than one. And this is something that a lot of people just can't take. And that's too bad. You understand what I'm saying? This is the idea, brothers and sisters. We don't understand that God is a species and a being that we just don't know. Now, as far as I know, the beings that are a part of